Hi, hello everyone. This is Suzette from Cloudy Sky Today on YouTube. Now, in one of my prior videos, I discussed protecting yourself on the internet. It's not just for businesses, it's for individuals too. Now, sometime after that, I actually got an email. Actually, I got two emails. One was a fake email from a business that I frequent, and I have their extra care rewards card. And the other one was a fake. It actually went through the spam filter, or the spam filter of my email provider did not um, squeeze it out. And I had to take a look at it because I realized it was more phishing. It was directed at me. Some of these in the spam folders, you'll see it's not really directed at you, or it has multiple people that is being sent to. And of course, it reminded me, because I just did the Security Plus exam, of certain things that, even though it's for businesses, certain frameworks, they can be applied to individuals. Now, some of the frameworks, some of the steps, we don't need to go through. Like, the main thing I'm going to focus in this video, and we're going to look at one of the emails. We're going to compare the fake email from the legitimate company. We're just going to identify and detect. We're not going to click on any links because we don't need to find out what the payload is. We don't need to do the recovery because we don't know how much that will cost. Plus, I don't have the tools to clean up my computer. And then, even worse, what if it's ransomware? I don't want to have to pay somebody. So, yes, we're not going to click on any links to have to, isolate anything or anything of the sort. But I did want to talk about some of these frameworks and what makes them so interesting. One of them was the Mitra attack framework. Found that one interesting because it had tables of how different um, threat actors work, you know, and email is a delivery method too, especially if they're trying to fish for certain things. They had the diamond model of intrusion analysis, which is in a diamond shape. And I don't want to show any pictures because I don't want to get no copyright strikes. I'm just going to describe what I remember learning. You had adversary on one corner, you have the infrastructure, you have the victim, and of course on this side, on the diamond, you have the capability. So the adversary develops a capability to exploit a victim, which also applies not just to businesses, to us too. Because hey, if they get into your bank account or your computer, who knows what they will do. And that's why it's very important to be able to recognize these emails because, I mean, if you look on some of the stuff that's happening, you could download something and you're like, oh, it didn't work. Maybe I just, and you don't think anything of it. But what it does is download something like a keylogger, and then they're able to sign, and it sends it back to this remote computer where they're able to get information while you're typing. Of course, they're only interested when you're doing something financial, so they can go rob your bank account, you know. And of course, if you work at a very important job, then they can get into your company. Other one that I found interesting that I learned was this kill chain analysis. It was actually developed by Lockheed Martin, and they talk about how reconnaissance. Pretty much what that's talking about is these bad people. They go out and like for example, the Yahoo breach a couple years ago, where, and I do have Yahoo, where your email is out there. They could harvest my email that way. I don't know. Um, Other companies recently, or not so recently, I'm thinking that you do business with that have been breached. Capital One, Michaels, there are a lot of companies that have had some kind of breaches in their past. So some of your information is out there. They could couple that with social media, looking you up on social media and gathering the rest of your information so they know how to address you. And getting places like the business you do with they, especially if you do a business with them, and then a lot of people have rewards cards. So maybe that's how they get that information. And one thing is important about this last one I'm talking about, the kill chain, is they talk about delivery. How is this exploit that they develop, the adversary or the threat actor or the bad actor or the scammer, whatever you want to call them? A lot of the delivery is email. It's a cheap way of getting people. If you can get their email address, you direct something to them, which is known as phishing, phishing, that kind of phishing. And if they click on the link, you deliver your payload. Now, by that, could be as simple as taking you to a fake site where once you try to type in your credentials, they harvest your credentials. It could be, like I said before, something they download to your computer. They could do a couple of things with that. One, they could make your computer part of a bot and then use it to attack other businesses. Two, they could add a keylogger and then they could be capturing your keystrokes. So when you do something financial, they capture that information. Three, they could just download adware and then you're bombarded with pop-ups and all that craziness, and then you have to go to, you know, whichever IT provider you use to go get them to clean up the malware off your computer. Or, sorry, whatever they call it, the pup. And then four, worst case scenario, they'll encrypt all your files and you have to pay bitcoins or whatever, like they just did recently for the pipeline. Well, hopefully they don't charge you millions, but they do charge government millions to decrypt your file. So let's take a look at this email because it was very interesting. Oh, and before we take a look at the email, there's one more cybersecurity framework I keep forgetting. The government itself, where they talk about, detecting, responding, recovery, identity, and protecting. Well, we're just gonna detect. Hopefully we don't have to do any response or recovery. So let's get into the email that I received, funny as, after talking about this stuff. Oh, look at the lovely email. Now, if you look, it's directed at me. I kind of blocked out my email address, the rest of my email address, but it is directed to me. It's not directed to some other name and it just popped into my email box or anything. It is to me. Another thing you might notice about it is the header. And I'm going to compare that email to one that I actually received the same day from the legitimate company. And if you take a look on the header, you'll see that the CVS Extra Care one, the one that's closest, okay, I always get this confused. The one that's closest to me says CVS Extra Care at pharmacy.cvs.com. And then if you look on the fake one, it says CVS Pharmacy. CVS Pharmacy is spelled correctly, but they capitalize CVS and PHA for some reason. And then it's at CVS Pharmacy is now spelled incorrect. News at ilomi at especgamen.cc. That's not CVS. You can always recognize where your thing is coming from because the domain says cvs.com, even though it says at pharmacy.cvs.com. But the cvs.com is in the end part of the address. So that's how you know that's the real one. Now let's take a look at the body of the fake one because it had a link in there. Now when you hover over the link, I don't click on the link, so hold on, I'm trying to move screen. I hover over the link just to see what the link says. And okay, let's get a close-up of the link. It says HTTP, as again you can see from the name ppt.cc. blah blah blah. There's no cvs.com in the address. Now let's look at the real one. When you hover over the address, you see the pharmacy.cvs.com, right after the HTTPS in the address. Of course, there's some other things because that whole question mark, that's how you bring that page to open. I'm trying to do it simply, but yeah. So there, we looked at several ways of identifying, that this is a malware. Once we identify it, The next step I'm going to do is click on the spam so that my Yahoo learns that this is malicious emails, because a lot of these email and internet providers now have some kind of machine learning, and it actually helps if when you recognize that it's a scam, you press it so that way it learns and don't forward any more of that stuff to you. But if it does escape the spam filter, you should be able to recognize with those few simple tips. And most important, don't click on the link because we don't know what kind of malicious payload it will deliver. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this content. And if you'd like to see more, please like and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you later.